Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mr. Ipock here for a homework help video on lesson 5.1, part 2. Okay, so let's jump right into this. Let's look at number 1. So here's the first thing we're going to have to do before we can graph this line. Currently, this is in standard form. We need it to be in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this to about right here, right near that x-axis, 2x plus y equals negative 1. Now that I have that there, I'm going to follow my steps from lesson 5.1 on how to move any equation to slope-intercept form. So the first step in the flow chart is y on the left side? Yes, it is, so I'm going to circle it. Once I circle that, I'm then going to ask myself, what do I have to do to get this 2x over here? I got to do the inverse operation, so I'm going to have to subtract 2x. And what I do to one side, I got to do to the other. Now this cancels, leaving me with y here, and then I just write this down. I can't combine those, I just write it as I see it. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. So now that I have that equation, I'm going to bring it back up here. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. So we just went from this equation to this equation. These equations are the same thing, but this is in slope-intercept form. We just can't look at this in graph, but we can look at this in graph. Now what I would tell you to do is to follow the 7-step process in graphing. First step, is the slope positive or negative? Well, it's a negative, so I'm going to say it's negative, which means it should be a line going down from left to right. Identify m. M, I write as a fraction. M is negative 2. As a fraction, it would be negative 2 over 1. Now I'm going to direct it. I'm going to go down 2 and right 1. I identify its opposite. The opposite is up 2, left 1. Now I identify B. B is right here, negative 1. From there, I put a point at the y-intercept of negative 1, and I follow my direction. My direction is down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. I can no longer go this direction, so I can go the opposite direction, though. So if you want to go the opposite direction, follow your opposite direction you made over here. Up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. From there, I get my protractor. I graph my line. I label my line. And I'm going to label it just the y equals negative 2x minus 1. And then I check. This is the part that will separate you from everyone else by checking this. Is this line going down from left to right? Yes, it is, and that's what we said it would do in the beginning. So I'm going to put a check just knowing that I got my direction right. Okay? From there, let's take a look at number 2. I'm going to take a look at number 2. Number 2 is x plus y equals 0. So I'm going to bring this down here. X plus y equals 0. Well, x plus y equals 0. I got to isolate this y, so I got to get rid of that x. So I do the inverse, which would be to subtract x, since that's a positive now. And what I do to one side, I got to do the other. That cancels. I got y equals negative x. So I rewrite this up here. Y equals negative x. And then I go through my 7-step process. Is the slope? Well, we know there's a 1 there. So is the slope positive or negative? It's negative, which means this line should be going down from left to right. From there, what is m? And write it as a fraction. M is negative 1. Write it as a fraction. Put it over 1. Direct it. Down 1 and right 1. The opposite, up 1 and left 1. What is b? Well, notice there is no b out here. So we could say b is plus 0 because that changes nothing, so my b is 0. So when you don't have a plus or minus something, it's plus 0, which is your y-intercept, so your y-intercept is 0. So I put a point at my y-intercept of 0, 0 on the y-axis, and then I'm going to follow my direction. Down 1, right 1. So down 1, right 1, and I'm going to put a point. Down 1, right 1. 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 I can no longer go that direction, so I do go the opposite direction. My opposite direction right here Up 1, left 1, 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 up 1, left 1. And keep in mind, the more points you have on a line, the more accurate the line will be. Then I play connect the dots. Here we go. I graph my line. Now I label it y equals negative x, and then I check. Is that line going down from left to right? Like I said it would? Yes, so I put a check mark. One more on the front side. I'm looking at number 6. 0 equals negative y plus 1. Okay, so again, I got to put that in slope-intercept form. So 0 equals negative y plus 1. So we ask ourselves, is y on the left side? It is not on the left side. So what you do is you switch it. You literally put whatever's on the right on the left, whatever's on the left on the right. So negative y plus 1 equals 0. And this should make sense because if 0 equals negative y plus 1, then negative y plus 1 equals 0. It's kind of like reading it backwards. Now, I'm wanting to isolate negative y, or the y. So I got to do the inverse operation of adding 1. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And then that will leave me with negative y equals negative 1. Now here you cannot keep that as a negative y, so you got to divide everything by negative 1. That cancels. Y equals positive 1. So we have y equals 1 as our new equation in slope-intercept form. Now you might be saying, how in the world do we graph that? If you remember a lesson that we taught a week or so ago, you plot that number on that axis and then draw a line that goes through that axis. So plot that number on that axis. Put a point at 1 on the y, and then you're going to draw a line that goes through that axis. So going through it, it'd have to be horizontal. And then I'll label it y equals 1. And that's it for that. Going to the back side. Looking at the back side. Let me work. Let me work number. Let me work number 10. Let me work number 10. So 2y plus 5x equals negative 2. I'm going to bring this down. 2y plus 5x equals negative 2. So I got my y on the left side, so I got to subtract that 5x to get it away from there. That cancels. I got 2y equals negative 5x minus 2. Instead of saying negative 2 minus 5x, I say negative 5x minus 2 to set it up for slope-intercept form. I divide everything by 2, and I get y equals negative 5 over 2x minus 1. So this was converted to y equals negative 5 over 2x minus 1. Now I go through my 7-step process. It's negative, which means a line going down. I write my slope as a fraction. And the negative always goes with the numerator. Negative 5 over 2. That's down 5 and right 2. The opposite of that is up 5 and left 2. B is negative 1. So put a point there. So put a point at negative 1 and follow your direction. Down 5 and right 2. Down 5, right 2. The opposite, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left 2. 1, 2. Put a point. I graph my line. I label my line. Y equals negative 5 over 2x minus 1. That completes this homework video for lesson 5.1 part 2. Thank you so much and have a good night.